There you go. Marley from the Black Father Support Group. It's 1:45 in the morning, and I forgot to say something in my last video. So here's a video part two, something I needed to say. And it's kind of like a thing where you go, that's strange. Never noticed that before. But when you're dealing with things in isolation, when you're doing things just by yourself, you may not notice it. The great thing about being in the Fathers Group is that you can say something, and someone else will say, "Hey, that same thing happened to me." And then once you start to see that more than one person or more than two people has had the same thing happen to them, you go, hold on a second, there's something going on that I may not have been aware of. So I wanted to just bring this to your attention as well. Men, if you're in a let me acknowledge everyone. Family. If you find yourself in a job, all right, and you're working for someone who gives you a promise of something great in the future, all right, they say, come and work with me. It might be a bit difficult for you at the moment, but what's going to come in the future is going to be something great. So you start working with that person based on the promise that they've given you. Be careful. Because I was talking about a situation that I'm in where, I started a job based on the fact that, I was going to learn a new programming language. Programming language I use at the moment is old. And, this thing is new and sparkly, and I'm like, great, I can get to learn this other stuff. So I want to stick around and find out. And what's happened is that, things have moved on, then they stagnated and moved on, so on and so forth. And you kind of realize that you do this work still holding on to this promise. You're willing to sacrifice stuff in order to hold on to this promise. And the promise may not be coming. But, a brother who's there was talking about the exact same thing. He's there working for someone who's like, I'll give you the whole company. I'm ready to retire. You can have the whole company. So he's sticking it out. And what he's finding is that whereas when he was running his own business, he could have a say in who's hired, who's fired, what happened when, project manage the whole thing. Now he's doing things to the request of somebody else, to the pay of someone else. He's finding that he has less autonomy and less say in how things are done. He's holding on to this promise, so he can't actually rock the boat. He has to now keep his mouth shut and do what he's told for years and years and years, and that thing may not be happening. He says it's like they've got a big carrot, a big juicy carrot, just there, just out of reach, which keeps you striving to go forward. I'm starting to think that, that carrot has a stick in it. They're just going to beat you with the same carrot. Because you're going to, no matter how much you try, that carrot will keep going further and further away from you. So, the moral of the story is, if you find yourself in a situation where you're working for someone, or you're working at something, and you know that you're working below where you actually can work, you've sacrificed in order to take that position based on a promise, there's a good chance that promise ain't coming. And if you was to consider working with that promise not happening, how would that change what you're doing? Think about that. Bear that in mind as you move forward. And that's all I wanted to say for this video. Have a good night. This is Marley Morris, Black Father Support Group, signing off.